Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and I'd like to do an early review of Pesticide Not Required. So this game just came out recently in full release. I played the demo, and I've been playing the full release a bit, and I thought I would just give it a review so I can, number one, grade it, tell you what letter grade I give the game based on what I've seen so far, and then also offer a recommendation on whether or not you should purchase and play Pesticide Not Required. So first of all, what kind of a game is Pesticide Not Required? Well, it is a hilarious mix of Stardew Valley and Vampire Survivors, and you heard that correctly. It intentionally borrows from both of those. It even makes, jesting reference within the game to those titles. And you get the bullet hell roguelite progression of a Vampire Survivors, but somehow doing the activities that you've become accustomed to in farming sims like Stardew Valley. So you're fighting enemies, which are, bugs and things attacking your farm. And you are also planting, growing crops, fishing, mining ore, and when you do fight the enemies, you're using implements of farming that have been weaponized, like exploding scarecrows and water beams and pitchforks and such. So it's a hilarious tongue-in-cheek game with a very cute and cartoony aesthetic that allows you to somehow improbably combine these genres. So given that, the first thing I like to do in a review is talk about the fun factor. Is Pesticide Not Required fun? And I have to say, with what I've played so far, yes, it is a very fun game. If you like insane screens full of enemies that the bullet hell kind of Vampire Survivors genre has really spawned, and yet doing more laid-back activities like planting, watering, and harvesting crops and fishing and such, then this is going to be fun for you. I mean, I have fun doing everything, and it's easy. It seems like it might be complicated, but it's really just stand here and you're fishing, or stand over here and you plant this. You get pets, there's some automation, you get the really good choose 3 decision making of how to level up. You're making money, you're buying things at the shop, you're getting experience, and you're progressing through the level. And then even beyond that, there's the great meta progression system behind the scene of, unlocking new frogs and really building up what your capabilities are, boosting your overall account status, and the fun collectible achievement stuff that you get with these types of games. So yes, I think Pesticide Not Required is a very fun game. Well, what about the controls? How does Pesticide Not Required control? It's asking you to do a lot of things. Are the controls intuitive, and do they make sense? Guess what? Yes, because pretty much all you need to do is move around. These games are so amazing in the minimal nature of their control. I played the game with a controller, and all you need to do is basically walk around with the left stick on the controller, or you can use mouse and keyboard and WASD. And there's no clicking, there's no precision that you need to do. The only selections you need to make are when you're buying stuff from the shop and when you are choosing what rewards you want. Other than that, you're just walking around, things are automatically happening and aiming for you, and it works just fine. So the controls are great in games like this, and this is no exception. What about the systems and the UI? This is a subset of control that I like to talk about. So you have a lot of systems going on. You have farming, you have an economy with shopping, you have an experience RPG leveling system, you have fishing, you have mining, you have combat. How do all of those things work? Well, the genius is they all work very well because you just don't have to do very much to make them happen except be present and be in the area. You do all the things that you'd expect, Vampire Survivor style, walk around, kill enemies, collect gems, level up. And then you just buy seeds, and if you are on the farm plot, then you plant them, and then as long as you have water in your can, you will water them. And then once they're ready to harvest, you will harvest them. Now, it takes time to do each activity, and you can speed those up by customizing your character, but everything is super easy, and all of the systems make complete sense and work as you would expect. So the systems are really good, and they're fun to use. What about the UI? The UI is minimal. You just select some options, but then there's also a great pause screen that gives you a breakdown of your character, all of the abilities that you have, what level they are, and some good transparency with your numbers, as has become the precedent in this genre, where you could see all of the upgrades you've got, all of the damage you're doing, all of the different effects that you have going on, so you can make decisions and just kind of see the statistics. And I think that the UI is simple, but it works just fine. So what about the story in Pesticide Not Required? There is no story, and this game needs no story. It's not that kind of a game. It would be bogged down, but I mean, you could do a fun story and, have some maybe narrative connection or whatever, but there's just none. There's not even lore. It's very simple. Let's get into it and play the game and have fun. So what about the graphics and the visuals in Pesticide Not Required? They're basic, they're pixelated. It's a little muted color palette for me, but overall I think everything works great and looks good. You could tell what it is. It has, a pretty nice aesthetic to it. So they're good graphics. They're not the best I've ever seen, but they are appropriate for the genre, and you have to consider the fact that with this many enemies and sprites on the screen, that it's challenging to do anything too intense, but it definitely captures the vibe and the chill nature of Stardew Valley, so they look pretty good. How about the audio and the music? The music and the audio and the sound effects are all fine. Nothing blows me away as I'm humming this tune, but it works. It's all pretty good in this game, and as you would expect. So, given that, what about the style? How do all of these elements come together to contribute toward a unique, interesting, fun game that iterates significantly or stands out from the pack and feels like it has some kind of soul instead of being just a, formulaic amalgam of other successful game elements? This game certainly has style for me. It's funny that you're a frog, but it's really funny that you are playing Stardew Valley and a action roguelike bullet heaven game. I mean, just that mashup alone gives it style, and it's not terribly different in execution from all of the other games that have come in Vampire Survivors' wake. However, because the farming element is so cool and all of the different things you can do, I think it certainly has a nice sense of style and is a unique game where you can name it, and the way that it takes these farming sim and Vampire Survivors and blends them is enough to help it be diverse and stand out and give it a sense of style. It also has a pretty funny sense of humor in the names of the abilities and some of the things going on in the flavor text for certain items. So I think overall it's got a pretty good style. So given what I've just said, what would I grade Pesticide Not Required? What letter grade would I give it? Well, normally with these reviews, I like to base my review in what has been said on Steam and what the critics have said on Metacritic. This game just came out. It's a very small indie kind of game, so there's no reviews on Metacritic. And on Steam, as of the time of this recording, 2 days after its release, there's only 131 reviews, but they're very positive. So I don't have much to go on, and I'm going to give Pesticide Not Required a B. I think it's a fun game. I think it's cool. I think it definitely scratches that Vampire Survivors itch and even gives you a little bit of just, the sentiment of a farming sim. It isn't the best in genre for me. It's not up there with Vampire Survivors, Halls of Torment, some of the others that are really, really, changing this on its head and maybe allow you to make more meaningful decisions. I think at the end of the day, what's going on in this game is sometimes I'm just making decisions and I'm not really sure how they will affect me, and there's so many different stats that you're questioning, and this is an early review, the balance of the game, the viability of certain builds, and even, how often you want to replay the game given that you're on this farm, etc. But all of that being said, I still think it's a good game. I still think it's fun, and maybe later after more playing and unlocking, it will get to be where I elevate the game. So my current grade is a B, and I will say also about that, you have to play for a little bit to unlock some more of the elements, but there is a permanent progression path, and there are achievements, and there are other characters. You just kind of have to unlock them, and that makes the game certainly more fun. So I've given the game a B. What about, do I recommend this game to others? How would I, evaluate and recommend and suggest should you buy, and play Pesticide Not Required? Well, I like to do a kind of approach where I look at different factors to help make that determination. Number one, it's if you like these kinds of games, you will like this. So if you like bullet hell games, like Vampire Survivors, it's in that realm. And if you like Stardew and farming sim stuff and cute, cartoony stuff, there is that going for you too. So you kind of blend those together. And even if you don't necessarily like one or the other, I still think it might be something that you want to play, just because in principle it's such a fun game when it all comes together, and it's insane and hectic what's going on, and yet a good time. So what about the difficulty of the game? That can deter people, that can help people come in. Is this a hard game? At the easiest difficulty levels, not really. It's not super hard. But I don't necessarily know that it's supposed to be. But when you start trying different levels and seasons, I wonder how much harder it's going to be. I haven't gotten that far in the game. But that being said, usually even Vampire Survivors, the first level isn't that hard, especially once you get some meta progression underpinning your character that makes you even stronger. That being said, you don't want this to be perhaps an overwhelmingly challenging game because of its, the ancestry of something like Stardew Valley, which isn't really about challenge and necessarily. So not super hard. What about the value of the game? Well, guess what? This game right now, it just came out, so it's on sale. It's $5.85 American. So it is super cheap, and I think you're going to get your money's worth very easily with this title because it is just so much to play for so little investment. So the value is through the roof, and replayability is inherent to this type of game. So the replayability is very high because it's a roguelite. You're supposed to play it again. You're supposed to try different frogs, go for different weapon combinations, try mining, try farming, try fishing, try all of it. Go to different levels, try harder levels, and you will be doing it again and again and building up your account and making yourself stronger in the process. So I think the replayability is very high. So overall, I'm not saying this is the best game ever, but I'm saying it's a fun little game for $6 that is a good time waster, that stands out from the pack because of how absurd the combination of genres is, and is cute and fun. And at the end of the day, the control is good. It's a fun experience. So I give it a B, and I recommend it to just about anyone. I think it's a cool game to just, spend some time with and chill out. And you're not going to be out too much if it was your enemy. So that's what I think about this game. And let me know what you think about Pesticide Not Required in the comments below. What do you think about my grade for the game? And what do you think about it so far? Have you heard of this game? Are you interested in trying it? Have you played it, and do you agree or disagree with my ranking of a B and recommendation to others? I'm going to link also in the description below my Let's Play of the game, and I think I might do a beginner's guide too, so I'll put that there when it becomes available. If you want to see more gameplay of this, and if you want to see how to play so that you can make a decision if this is the game for you, if you want to buy it, and learn how to play it if you did buy it. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I will check you in the next one. Have a great day. Take care.